And Mark and Jeff and Mike, you guys can stay on for the next group.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hello?
Cool, thanks, thanks, Kathy. Hey, Jeff, you want to give a quick little 2-minute spiel on our background and stuff?
Yep. Yeah. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for attending, and thanks, Kathy, for hosting this. What you're going to see in the next 25, 30 minutes is a very innovative data science approach to eliminating all those obstacles that transitioning service members, veterans, and even military spouses experience when looking for a job in the civilian market. Not to go into too much detail about our backgrounds, but I'll highlight some of the relative parts for this topic. Is Mike, Brian, Alex, and I all have our former veterans, or our veterans ourselves, former military, have corporate America experience that ranges from strategy, operations, IT consulting, and labor resourcing and recruiting. But most recently, we all have over a dozen years kind of working in the defense services industry, where we were, really responsible for like staffing thousands of positions across thousands of labor categories, for various agencies. So we've been on both sides of that labor curve. So we've been looking for jobs ourselves, as well as looking for candidates to fill, very hard positions, to work all around the world. So with all that experience, that did include a lot of pain and frustration, kind of drove us to think differently, and find alternative solutions on how labor supply and demand interact. Primarily, one, we always thought there was a better way of doing this, and two, we had to be creative because we were competing against a lot of the big defense contractors as well. So what you're going to see here is a direct result of all that time and effort that we spent over the last 20 years, experience in all this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike Groh. Mike is the CEO of Opline and the architect behind what you're going to see. And then Brian, Alex, and I, we'll go ahead and monitor the Q&A chat window. So as he goes through this, feel free to ask questions, and we'll field those as they come in. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Cool, thanks, Jeff. Great. So what we'll do here. Oh, Joe, do you want to get some comments?
Yeah, for some reason this thing wasn't opening up. So hey, Mike, thanks. How'd the last session go? Pretty good.
I just talked to a computer all day, so you have to talk to Jeff how it went with people. So.
Okay. Well, look, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes at the front end of this as we get our job seekers up to speed with our pilot test here, Mike. So thanks. So I just wanted to kind of give everybody a perspective. So for several years now, SAME has hosted a transition workshop. Many of you participated in that recently. That's part of the reason why we're starting this pilot now on the heels of that particular event, which historically was fairly limited in terms of both, which companies participated in the event that were interested in hiring people. So that kind of limits the options or potential for job seekers like yourselves, and and limited also in the sense of what kind of jobs, how many companies, and also how many people like yourselves were really participating. And those of you who have been to job fairs, I mean, I did it years ago. It can get really overwhelming. And the bottom line is, as someone especially coming out of the military after many years, in my case, it was 34 years, yeah, you know what you like to do, you know what you're interested in, people start bombarding you with information like it's not job, you can't have job and money and location all at once, it's one of the three, so don't go there. I mean, all kinds of nonsense. But nobody, I can tell you from my own experience, nobody ever sat back and said, hey, here's the options of things that you might be able to do that you didn't even think about. Instead, what you get bombarded with is trying to write a resume to describe what you did. And nobody says, what says that you want to continue doing what you just did? Because guess what? You're taking your uniform off, for one thing. So this particular capability really attracted me and the leadership of SAME, because we truly believe it's got the power to transform the transition process. And from your perspective, from a job seeker perspective, the transformation would be really starting to understand all of this time, doesn't matter when you're getting out, but all this time you've spent doing different things, to include your hobbies, to include your other things that you've done, being able to look at that whole thing and have somebody tell you, well, did you ever consider doing X, Y, or Z? And you probably didn't. And this particular capability that Mike and his team have put together, it really has the power of helping open up other doors, other vistas, and other opportunities that I think you otherwise would not have even thought of. And as I thought of my own situation and how I approached it, it was more like, well, I need to go find a job. And that's what most of us do. And some get lucky and you make an alignment between what you really like doing and what your passion is and what you want to do and what you can do. But it'd be nice to know a little bit more about what you can do and what's needed out there that might be appropriate for your background. So I just want to open that up and thank Mike and the team again for putting this together. And then this pilot test over the next 3 months for us gives you all an opportunity to try it out, see where it takes you, and then give us the feedback for future users like yourselves. So let me stop there, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity for a short introduction. But me, Heather, the other leaders of the society think this capability has a great potential to transform this whole business. So good luck to all of you. Hope you find more than what you realized was out there, because I think that's what this capability will give you. All right. So Mike, thanks.
Thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate it. So
okay, great. Yeah. Over to you.
Thanks, sir. As Joe said so eloquently, you're all, you're in the middle of this transition. You're about to take the uniform off, and so what we want to show you today is basically how you can use Opline, not just to find a job, but basically become aware of what's going on in the market around you, how you align to that market so that you can take the proper actions. So, tongue in cheek, again, everybody inside of Opline, the management, the leadership, everyone that works here, we all went through this before. So tongue in cheek, we call it from hero to zero overnight. You're basically restarting when you take the uniform off. So we're going to try to give you the tools so you're not starting from zero. So I'll give you about 5 minutes of PowerPoint because no one likes PowerPoint, but it's to give you a contextual understanding of how the system works. And then we'll jump into the system and I'll show you kind of the most important stuff. I'll give you the function checks and let you guys start playing with it. So Opline itself is the name of the system. That's the AI, that's the data cloud, that's the algorithm, all that cool stuff. Vetline are the tools you use to interact with the system so that you can get an understanding of how you fit into the labor market. And so companies that want to hire vets can actually see how you fit to their jobs. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'll skip a few of these things. All right, here's the issue that we're attacking right now. So almost every other problem in the job market for veterans is a symptom of this. So this is the root cause. And the root cause is all these companies want to hire you. They even say they want to hire you. There's hundreds of companies that spend lots and lots of time building military hiring sites that have lots of pretty pictures on them with guys in half cami and half, civilian attire. And then they publish their jobs every night. And once they publish their jobs, that desire becomes analog. So now suddenly it's literally a line of sight. You have to see that job. You have to translate it to your skills. Then you have to rewrite your resume and send it to them into their ATS, where it's most likely not to be viewed by anybody or be viewed by 10 seconds and passed over. And so this is because there is no signal in the system. It is all text-based, word-based. And again, that just kind of devolves into this massive soup or morass that you guys are about to be in the middle of. So this is the issue, that there's zero SIGINT in the system, or very little SIGINT in the system. The way Opline changes this is for the last 5 or 10 years, 10 years heuristically, 4 years in the system electronically, we have been interrogating all the requirements that the demand side of the market, the labor market, the Microsofts, the Amazons, the Jacobs, the AEComs put out every night on their website. They basically have somewhere between 3 and 20 bullet points on any given job. And we are now basically able to turn that noise into signal. We basically have created a structured data schema that is constantly picking up everything that is said by these companies, and then it regresses it to a 1 or a 0 inside the system. So basically, every job that was published tonight is related closely to everything that was made the night before, the night before, the night before. So now that we have the system set up, it's, that what it's doing is it's watching what's happening in the market, it's recording what's happening in the market, and it's relating it to everything it saw before. And I'll show you why that's important here in a second. So again, this is for the side of American military engineers. We're doing this pilot where we're going to have all these companies start to join. And what's going to happen is the side of American military engineers will know what the demand is. We'll know what the requirements being asked for by any of these companies all the time. And it's going to sit there in a data cloud waiting for individual veterans to interact with. And what it's going to show veterans when they interact with is this concept we call technical fitness. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we jump into the system, because you kind of understand what it is. Like, your physical fitness, your financial fitness. Well, your technical fitness is how you fit in the labor market. And just like anything else, the more fit you are, the better, the more you're going to do. But the key is we've turned the market into data, the jobs market into data. So now you can interact with your military data, your branch, your rank, your MOS, your advanced schools, your deployments, your platform qualifications, simply with that language. And then the machine will basically turn you into a data set that maps to all the signal that we're seeing in the marketplace and make the exchange. And so what you'll see is you will get the sudden awareness of what's going on in the marketplace and how you align to it. And companies that are involved, in the side of American military engineers, syndicate we're building here, will be able to see how you align to their jobs as well. So they'll have an awareness of how all these different branches and MOSs and weird platform qualifications are useful to them. So that's the whole idea of technical fitness, is that companies are always looking for someone that meets their requirements, that is technically fit for their requirements. And you on your side are wondering how all the things you learned in your 4, 8, 12, 20 years in the military help you get a better job. So that's what we're going to do. So we make this exchange, and then with it, both sides benefit from it. All right. So with that, I'm going to jump into the demo here. And by the way, so for the side of American military engineers, when you interact with their system, their syndicate, basically we're sending your data to all the companies in the syndicate. So it's literally interact once and have, 20, 30, 40, 50 companies see your data so that they're aware of how you align to the market. Okay, so with that, let me drag this off. All right, so, so this is us, this is Offline. So, we're old guys. So, we used to have a lensatic compass here, but no one knew what that was. So, we replace it with this little symbol right here. So, one of the things we're going to show you is, hey, we're really focused on helping transitioning military. So here's the Vetline application and this thing called Check 6. So we're going to jump in here and I'm going to show you what that is and why it matters, et cetera. All right. So you'll even notice that when you go to offline.com, basically, sign up for the internet, first name, last name, email, password. There's this little thing that says active duty or transitioning military. When you click that button, that means, okay, we understand that you're coming out and what you know are the things that you've been told the last 4, 8, 12 years. You don't know how to translate the commercial information to your resume. And by the way, not a lot of people do, even in the civilian world. But we know if you click on that, we're like, okay, they're transitioning military, which means after you click, accept, and, get the email from us, the blah, blah, blah. This is this next screen you see. We basically, all we need to know to get you started, to get the AI engine running, is we need to know your branch. Let's say, hey, I'm in the U.S. Army, and your rank. Are you an E? Are you a WO? Are you an O? It doesn't matter to us. Hey, U.S. Army E6. We're like, all right, well, how many years? Let's say 8. And you're still active, so you're transitioning. We're like, okay, great. Just give us your MOS. Doesn't matter. You know, you can type it. You can, you know, type it this way. So, you know, wherever you are, I don't know, 91, is this one? No, that's the one too. Whatever you are, just tell us your MOS. All right, so this guy's 25 uniform. All right. Actually, let's do someone that's relevant to Society of American Military Engineers. All right, they have a combat engineer. Click save. The next thing you see is not, hey, upload your resume. The next thing you see is the system ran back to the data set, to that giant cloud of data we've been collecting. And it said, hey, show this kid the most important 40 things, 35, 40, whatever it is, that help them sync to the market faster. By which I mean, he likely has a bunch of these things in his resume. So, but no one reads resumes. You know, they just throw them away. So now tell us. And, you know, since a lot of the folks in the Society of American Military Engineers or in Upline itself are government contractors, everyone wants to know if you have a passport or a driver's license and a level of clearance. And you're an enlisted guy who made enlisted on this time, knows you have high school. And it's going to ask you if you have an associate's or not. You know, if you came in as an officer, it knows you have a bachelor's, probably asks you if you have a master's or not. All right, you're a 12 Bravo. It's like, hey, do you have an EIT? Because if you do, it'll really open up the market for you. Hey, do you have this? Because it's a certification everybody's looking for. Hey, do you have any of the journeyman licenses? You know, let's say, yeah, sure, I have welding certification. And you can see it's Microsoft Office and CAD and MATLAB and AutoCAD and blueprints. And again, things that it's highly likely a 12 Bravo has some interaction or understanding with. And then since this guy's an E6, he starts to kind of develop other skills, tangential to like the core 12 Bravo skills. Hey, did you work in logistics? Hey, have you been a construction manager? Yep, E6, you probably have been. What about electrician or inventory control, HVAC stuff? So again, it's looking at how to drag you onto the jobs as fast as possible. And so the more you tell it, the more it'll understand. And then down here, it's asking other things that everybody asks, some of those soft skills, mainly to clear them out. Because what we're really trying to do here, see this thing at the top says technical fitness. Again, coming back to the concept, we're trying to understand how fit you are to the demand market right now. So everything you're telling us right here, you know, everything you click on is a code. You're reading English, but there's a little code that's behind every one of these things that relates to all the other demand in the market. So when you click it, it takes all those codes and it creates coordinates. And those coordinates create a map. And then it maps you back to the giant data cloud of what's being asked for in the market right now. And so then it returns you. And it returns you to, okay, here are jobs that you are initially qualified for. Yeah, we initially qualified you about 2,100 jobs. And so we're going to put them right in front of you. And so now you can see there's IDS International and Phalanx and MVP. And this is based on the things you just said you had. Well, here's things that are likely, highly likely that you're aligned to. So, so right now I'm just going to really quickly just take you to this little thing that says how it works. All right, so we'll have lots of more videos and everything for you, but this comes down to, because you're military guys, I think you'll understand this. Again, your technical fitness. The more you tell the system, the better it understands your technical fitness to the marketplace, or what jobs you're qualified for, initially qualified for, etc. So even though Upline is probably the best job board in the world, that's not the way we want you to think about it. We want you to think about it like this. It's about alignment, awareness, and actions. So Upline, what it's doing is it's syncing you to over 1 million jobs at a time. And there's companies on the other end of those jobs active in the system looking for you. So what it's doing is you create this profile by this interaction. It then shows you, all right, here's your orientation. So again, if you're an older guy like me, this thing right here I'm showing you, this 1, 2, 3, 4, that's just an OODA loop. That's just, you know, observe, orient, decide, and act. Except in Upline, it's like, all right, Upline gets you synced to the market. Now you can see your alignments. You can see what jobs you're aligning to. You're aware of who has the jobs, what your gaps are, and now you can take actions to get yourselves on that right target. whether it's reaching out to that company, figuring out you need this new certification, you need this skill set, et cetera. And the more you interact with the system, the smarter it gets, the more this loop happens, it cycles and becomes positive. All right, so that's, so please go ahead and just read through that because it'll make a lot more sense. But now that you're on top of these jobs, so now I can see, oh, hey, there's this job for MVP, for a construction technology specialist. Well, here's exactly what they're asking. You're familiar with the construction process trades. Yep, that's me. I'm a 12 Bravo. Hey, do you know Autodesk? You can say yes. Hey, do you know Microsoft 360? You can say yes. These are the requirements for the job. So now MVP, who's going to be in the same syndicate, you saw him right here. You're qualified for this. You can even say, oh, I know BIM and I've done laser scanning. I've done these things. And you can basically tell MVP, I'm fully qualified for this job and I'd like to talk to you, and hit this button. And basically it'll send across a signal that you'd like to talk to him. So, so again, here's one for Stanley. So this one's a little bit higher. You have to have a bachelor's or 8 years. You had 8 years experience. So you can click on this. So again, what we're doing here is we're trying to bring you closer to understanding everything that's going on. And what you're doing every time you're clicking off, one of these requirements, you're adding another code to your profile. So here's one for Kalana. Again, you clicked off that you had a welding certification, but you didn't know how many years. So again, now you can click these off. You can tell Kalana, I have this, this is what's going on. Hit the button, express interest. So really quickly, what we're trying to do is show you alignment and how it's aligning right now. So if you go back to next time you log in, it'll take you right to your home. And so there's a whole bunch of data here for you to better become aware of what's going on in the marketplace. So you can see, hey, there's about 20,000 jobs in here that right now your profile is aligning to you. And the more you interact with the system, that number will change. And 14 is the number of companies in Opline that you're aligning to inside the Opline system that you can send that signal to. And you can see, your fitness technical profiles. It's your education and your functions and your certifications. That data's right here. But the other thing we're doing for you on this page is this thing check 6. Well, what that is now that you've aligned yourself to the market or to the Opline data set of the market, we can see all the other things that are kind of outside your purview. Think of us as, we're the predator drone above you. We can see down. We know the next most important things for you to tell us to get more jobs. So now, this is a very long way of saying, can you work weekends on a flexible schedule? But everybody's asking this, and people are asking if you can travel, and people are asking if you have strong customer skills. And then, these next 3 are probably really big. Are you a registered professional engineer? You can say no. You have a bachelor's and associates? Yes. You have a bachelor's? Let's say no. If you say yes or no, if you say no now, it doesn't mean you can't put this into the system later. It just means check 6 won't ask you again. So what we're doing here is we're bringing you basically the top things the market's asking for someone with your profile or your set of data so that you can close the gaps faster. Now, so you said you didn't have a bachelor's, now wants to know if you have a bachelor's in computer science. So now it's master's. All right, what about electrical engineering? So again, this is a really quick way, just saying yes or no, that'll drag you closer to the X. That's what we're trying to do here. And so that's what this information is. This check line, well, that, I'll show you in a minute, that is so after you sync to a company, so you've synced to a company, you said, hey, I want to talk to you. Well, they can see your data now. And they can see your data. They'll see how close you are linked. They can send you basically information back. They can say, hey, we want to know if you have this, this, or this. So again, another way for you to understand what's going on in the market. So, so real quickly, I just wanted to show you that's what's going on. All right, the other thing I wanted to show you is, so we came in, we made that guy fairly quickly. So if you go to, my technical profile, all right, so this is where all that data, that information is being stored that you're telling the system. So again, you came in, you said, hey, I'm an E6 with 8 years, just to show you, let's just do something else. hey, I'm a Navy 03, with 6 years, I'm active, and, I'm a surface warfare officer. So I just wanted to show you this because whatever you put in, whatever MOS, the system will slew and queue. Again, think of this as C4ISR for your job search. Okay, a 12 Bravo and a surface warfare officers are very different. And so now here you can see it's asking this surface warfare officer, hey, we know you got a bachelor's. Is it in STEM? Is it in finance? Is it a master? Do you have a master's degree or JPME or a PMP? Again, these things matter. If I know that you have these things, or sorry, the system knows you have these things, CISSP, again, certs come to the top, we're going to change your awareness to the market. We're going to change the awareness of companies to you, so that you can pick you up faster. And so here now it's asking about staff and DoD acquisitions and supply chain and contract management and compliance and risk. So again, all these things that, are tangential to a core surface warfare officer, but as you progress, they become things that you do and that happen. There are opportunities. So again, now this guy goes through, does the same thing, hits save, and then the jobs of surface warfare officer, you're going to see very different than the job set of a 12 Bravo with 8 years, a surface warfare officer with 6 years. Now we've seen project and program management stuff. Disney's coming on board, so now he sees the Disney jobs. So again, these companies also with in green, well, again, they're the companies, sorry, with this green view. These are the companies that basically are in Opline and are picking up the signal. So if you click yes or click I want to talk to you, there's someone on the other end. And that's what we're doing with the Society of American Military Engineers, is we're going to make sure there's someone on the other end, basically, that sees your data and syndicates it, and we can see it. I'm going deep. I'm going deep. All right. So I went down to about, of the 5,000 jobs, I went down to about 1,000. The other thing to be aware of is we're not just bringing you companies that are basically Opline customers. We're bringing you everyone. So I went down deep, and here's Merrick, and here's Bristol Myers Squibb, and Pfizer. Here's all these now they're not our customers. So I can open up this thing for tech systems, and you can see it says, here's a tech system job. We think you're probably aligned to it. And here's the URL. You can go look at it, but they're not in our system. There's no way for you to send them signal because they're not watching. Because what we want you to do, we want you interfacing with those companies up on top that are in green, because those are the guys that you're going to get the most interaction with, that are paying attention to it, and then they'll also give you the most feedback. So that's why if they're in green up here, basically there's someone on the other end. So USAA, Verizon, Kalana, there's people there that are basically watching your stuff come through. So that's kind of the gist of it. So there's initial alignment. That's what you're looking at right now. If you click on technical fit, all right, those are the jobs you're fully qualified according to what the system understands about your profile and what the market's asking. So if you click over here, you can see, there's like 400 opportunities that the system is saying you're fully qualified for. And they're at MAG, and they're at RMGS, or MVP, and that's the one we clicked on. So now you can see, and again, here's, companies that aren't even in our purview, that you're fully qualified for as well, because we've interrogated those jobs. So again, going back to we want to make sure you understand your initial alignment, and then you have awareness to what's going on in the market. And the other, and this thing called internships, well, you can be aware about internships as well. So I click on this right now, you can see there's nothing in it. Well, that's because internships are one of these things where you almost have to have no experience for. So if you go down here into filters, so you can filter, go to internships. You can see, all right, show me internships for engineering and technical software and tech and software. So if I go back here to internships and I ask for those two things, it's going to put them right in front of you. And again, so now we got sort of entry level, internship level stuff right here, so that you can see, hey, here's an internship for MVP. Like, okay, do I meet these? Again, internships have this almost very, very light level of qualification. So if you're looking at changing or moving around someplace, that's another way that we make you aware of how you can go from what you're doing now to another place. So, so again, the whole idea is to stop thinking about basically just a standardized job search and start thinking about how you become more aware of what's going on and sort of your gaps to what's going on, et cetera. I'll open it up to questions, Jeff or Brian. I mean, I got more stuff to show, but I don't want to go too far without knowing sort of the direction people want to look or people want to go.
Yeah, Mike, can you just show the op value thing again?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So
important part of the job search. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Okay. Sorry. All right. If I go here, let's go to. All right. So what we bring you when we first initially align you is we bring you your alignment. You know, there's like about 40,000 jobs we're aligning you to. All right. You can look at everything in the system. So under my options, there's this thing called op search. So if you click on op search, what you can do is you can see everything and not just what you're aligned to. So I'm just going to type in, you know, this is where I'm sitting right now. I'm like, okay, show me all the jobs in the system are around Norfolk, Virginia, or within 25 miles of it, and who has them. So now you can see, you know, Anthem has them, and Chesapeake Regional has them, and H&R Block and Home Depot. So now, you know, I can click on this. I'm going to click on Huntington Ingalls. And I can see, all right, they have engineering tech jobs and mechanical engineering jobs and foreman jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So if I click on this, you know, mechanical engineering job, what you're going to see is, all right, here's the mechanical engineering jobs at Huntington Ingalls. So I open it up. And again, what the system is doing is it's looking at the requirements. And then it's doing an interrogation on them, turning them into signal, and placing a number on it. So if I look at this, you'll see it's like, all right, 2 years as a mechanical engineer, a bachelor's, and these two other, you know, have confidential level security clearance. Op value. All right, the op value is what Opline believes to be the mean base salary of these requirements, you know, regress to the entire market. So that's where that number is coming from. So, and wherever you look in the system, we're always trying to show you the op value so that you have this understanding and awareness of, hey, you know, if I have these qualifications, sort of the valuation, let's look at something, pipe fitter. The valuation of this set of skills for this job in this location is somewhere around here. So again, here's one for a pipe fitter, all right? Very different than a mechanical engineer. You know, you have to have understanding of being a pipe fitter, and then you basically have to lift up 40 pounds, be able to work at heights, et cetera. Again, very different op value number. So again, wherever you slew and queue in the system, you know, we're trying to put this op value in front of it. Sometimes it'll be 0. It just means we don't have quite enough statistical information to give you the number. But for all the companies that are basically using the system, you will see that number. It does not mean that's their salary. What it means is it's what we think, you know, is the mean, like the 50% value of what's going on with these skills at this time. So again, just to give you an understanding of kind of the range, or kind of, you know, think of it as the first mortar down range. We're going to put it there, and then you can move around it. All right, so I just slewed and queued from Norfolk, Virginia to Texas, to Austin, Texas, just to show you very different view. But now I can see, oh, if you're going to go to Austin, well, there's IBM, and there's Apple, and there's Dell, and there's Deloitte, Applied Materials. You know, this is very much a tech town. So the demand going on in this city is very different than the demand going on in Norfolk or Seattle or all these other places. So now I can come over here. I can look at software engineers in Austin, Texas for Apple, and you can see, you know, there's an op value number there again. So now I can see it. You know, I can see exactly what they're asking for. And again, these things are asked for software engineers all the time, everywhere. So that's how the system recognizes it and sees it and is able to pick it up. Let me show you one other thing here. So going back to, let me get back to, so going back to, you know, we said, so, okay, the, back on your interactions page, it was, let me go back there, sorry. All right, back on menu. Yeah. This is back to your military experience page, back to my interactions page. Okay, back here we said, hey, when you send a signal across to a company, they can see it. So again, you reached out to MVP, this one reached out to Calfee Enterprises. Okay, what happens on their side, and again, this will be happening for companies in the Society of American Military Engineers, is, well, you're going to show up. So here's this guy we just made, I gave him 2 MOSs because I showed you how, first that was the 25 series and then the Surface Warfare Officer. All right, on the company side, they can now see, here's the data. So I'm in Calfee Enterprises. They saw you came across. They can see that, you're a full qualification for this aviation project manager job that you clicked, because you said so right there. They can also see there's 8 other jobs right here that you're closely qualified for. So now, they can open this up, they can see your profile. So there's your profile right there. And as you build your profile, as you add more experiences and search to it, again, they're able to see it. You sync to more jobs. The system gets better and better at knowing what you can and can't do. So, so that's one of the reasons we help you build this technical profile. You understand your technical fitness, but also companies can understand your technical fitness a lot better. Sorry, I've been logging in and out a bunch, so it doesn't like me right now. It's not popping up the modal that quickly. And now a company can say, oh, I see that this guy has these 4 years of experience in what we want. I don't know if he has this requirement or this requirement or this requirement, and I'd really like to know. So a company can hit this thing called Site In, can hit Save, and what's going to happen is, it's going to basically send you the signal across. So now inside Opline, back on your dashboard and your homepage, there, now Calfee Enterprises has seen you. You said you were interested in this job. They saw you. They saw what other jobs they had you were syncing to. And now you can tell Calfee Enterprises, well, yes, I can do this, and 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 send it right back to them. So we know one of the big issues transitioning military is you make 100 resumes, you send out 100 resumes, and 30 days later, you haven't heard anything. So we're going to try to overcome that. We're going to try to say, look, here's how we're going to overcome this. We're going to be able to send signal out to these companies, and they can send signal back. And there's lots of different ways we can do it. So the other thing I want to say is, yeah, we want you to go into Opline. We want you to start playing around, but we'll also, and we'll send this link out to everybody. Sorry, grab this link. So because Opline is just a data cloud, and you can see it anywhere and everywhere, this little link right here, that's the same right there. Basically, if you click on this link and put your data in here, what's going to happen is that interaction will go to the Society of American Military Engineers, and then the data goes through the Society of American Military Engineers, but your data is then syndicated to all the companies in Society of American Military Engineers. So now you sync once to the Society of American Military Engineers, and we push it out to all these companies, so that now the awareness happens at a massive scale. So here's, so if I go over here to Society of American Military Engineers, you're going to see, so for a lot of these companies, you're interacting with Calfee Enterprises or Kalana or Disney, they have like 500 jobs, or, some have 100, some have 2,000, whatever it is. But if I come over here, I'm going to show you what we're doing in the Society of American Military Engineers is we're going to aggregate all the demand from all these different companies. And, ones you've heard about, like Jacobs and AECOM, but then hundreds of them you probably haven't heard about. And what's going to happen is, now that we can take all this demand from all these companies, if you go to that link, and we'll send that link to you, and you sign up for the same, it's going to basically take your data and syndicate it across all these companies. And again, this is the first day of the pilot. We're spending the next 90 days tuning this, getting your feedback and these companies' feedback, so that come 90 days from now, we have a fully functioning C4ISR SIGINT system, so no one's wasting time. And so now you sync to the Society of American Military Engineers. You're going to come across. they'll see you, they'll sync you to the system, and then it goes across everywhere. So, so again, what we really want you to do is, go into the system, play with it, break it, tell us what's going on, because we're here to try to help you get that alignment and awareness, so that you can make better decisions, optimal decisions for you. And we'll be having more and more tools come into the system here. Let me go back to the user side. We're bringing you all these awareness tools. And over the next 90 days, we'll have better videos, better explanations of everything that's going on. And so any feedback you have will be listened to and will be valuable. So don't be afraid of saying the baby's ugly, because we were all combat arms guys. So we're quite used to that. Ready for war, not ready for inspection, but we'll get it ready for inspection for you. So that's kind of the grand, the grand pitch here. Jeff, any other big questions?
I would just have one just come in about remote telework positions, which we get a lot recently. So
yeah, so that's really good. I can tell you this. Here, let me go back to my opportunities. We kind of understand it because we see it, because we kind of think of the market differently, or in different fashion. So if I go back over here, let's go back to your profile. All right. When you come in, what is happening is the system understands kind of functionally what you can do. Whether you're an aviation ordnance guy or you're a civil engineer, based on your MOS, there's certain things that we know about. So you can see you came in, again, I've linked this guy in a lot of things. As you interact, it'll give you certain different functions. Now you can add another at any given time. So I'm sorry, I didn't go through this part that well. So here's your technical profile. There's your MOS. Again, you can tell us if you're in a guard unit, if you're in a reserve unit, languages, different clearances. You can see it's all kind of point and click, deployments, command schools, all this information about different ASIs for the Army or the Marine Corps or DoD. No one on the commercial side knows, what this means. But if you save it, we know what it means, and so we can sync it to commercial requests when they come in. So you can edit and delete things here as well. These functions are put in based on how you're interacting with the system, saying yes or no. If you don't want to do compliance management, you can easily just delete it, and then we will no longer bring you things. The system will stop looking for that stuff so that it's not pushed to you. Sorry, it's a very long way of answering your question, but you can add other things as well. So, I was DBA for 3 years in Kuwait, and I liked it, so I want to put it in here. This all these functions, well, we can see how the split is happening between remote work, or, you can work from home, or you have to come in. So there are functional areas where the majority of the work is going to work from home, bookkeeping, financial analysis, but then like civil engineering or warehouse management, not so much work from home jobs. So we're seeing the patterns, and we'll be able to soon kind of show you all those patterns and give you an understanding of what's going on for these different types of jobs.
And also because we're ingesting all that demand side, all those job descriptions, now companies are starting to put in there as a bullet point, hey, this is a remote position or it's not. So it'll pick those up as well.
Yeah. So we're working on it. It'll be one of those things where we'll add that in kind of the options. It's like, hey, remote only or highly likely remote only. You'll see things like that. And again, I'm clicking on something called Guidelines Beta. So again, this is very much a beta product. But this is, again, coming back to the awareness thing. We're probably about 9 months away from having this fully constructed and brought out, because we're working on other things right now. So what Guideline Beta is going to show you is, hey, you came in and you're on target for certain things, and we can see that. Because again, you're interacting with the system, it knows functionally what you can do, it knows your certs, all that sort of stuff. Well, we're also going to show you the most optimal path to doing different things. And so here's just some examples. Like, again, it's like, hey, if you want to go from where you are now to be an electronics tech or a maritime or a machinist or a front-end developer, it's going to take you about a year, plus or minus, but we'll show you kind of the path forward. So like, look, I'm a front-end developer. And again, this is really, not pretty. Again, ready for war, not inspection kind of stuff because it's beta. You can see here are the things you need to know to become a front-end developer from where you're at now. You got to know responsive web design and UX definition and UI definition and sketches. So, so as you build your profile, there's skills, there's experiences, and they're all related. Again, all this is all data related to each other. We can tell you now, hey, if you want to be in cybersecurity, well, this is the most likely path forward. You need to have one of these certifications, and you need to know scripting language. You need to know this. But we also know the clearing rate. Remember the op value? Across North America for the mean base clearing rate for this. So, so now we have all this for you. We can show you how to get from point A to point B. And as we work on it, we're not only going to show you, say, okay, if you want to be a mechanical engineer, you're 36 months away. We're like, oh, you want to be a mechanical engineer? Okay, well, you can type in mechanical engineer. We can show you your gaps. Look, you already have 3D modeling because you worked with AutoCAD on the ship, but you don't have this or hydraulics, pneumatics, or fluid dynamics, or systems, or finite element analysis. Here are the courses, basically a standardized course you need to take to meet the gaps here on the left. And we're even going to start to put in, all right, you're in Norfolk, Virginia, we can see it. All right, here's ECPI, here's ODU, here's, William & Mary's not a mechanical engineering school, but we're going to tell these people exactly the courses they need at the universities they need, and then give them a little button that says calculate using my GI Bill. So you can see optimally how you get from point A to point B at any time in the system. So again, this all goes back to what we're trying to do is, alignment, awareness, and actions at any given time for any place you are in your career. Right now you guys are moving through the transition phase. So there's a whole bunch of things you can learn because it's a whole different syntax. We like to kind of think like, hey, for the last, however, 8, 10, 20 years, you've been in the most sophisticated signal intelligence organization in the world. It's helped you move around the world seamlessly. You never don't have a 104 or PBS5 or, a satellite task. Well, guess what? You just got kicked out of the back of a C-130 with no map, no compass over a country you don't know the name of, and the sun is coming up. And so you're like, okay, where do I go? What do I do? Which direction do I start walking in? So, think of us as, we're going to be your technical guide for walking you through how you see opportunities. Become aligned, become aware, start thinking of things, move around. So, so again, play with all this. What we definitely want you to do is we definitely want you to go into the same syndicate. And so we'll send you that link that I showed you earlier. So one of the things we want you to see is, all right, go and, you can sign up for the system, right now and go in and play with it. But, we also want you to, hit this link and then, branch rank and MOS yourself to the Society of American Military Engineers, because it puts your data in their system and it syndicates it, and will let us start to make this syndicate really robust for everyone involved.
So someone just had a question too about how do we add credentials that are not in there. So that's the kind of the feedback we are hoping to get from you all. If it's not in there, let us know and we'll add it. We'll look it up and then add it to our database and then and relate it to all the jobs as well. So and we'll provide you with that link on how to send the feedback back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's especially around ASIs, we know we got a lot of them, but not all of them. So if you don't see something, definitely send it to us, and then we update it, we put it in. And so again, this is who we are. So again, we were all transitioning veterans. I just wanted to highlight that this is who we are, but this is the guy that's really the most important, the MIT guy. So the rest of us are, out in the field. The MIT guy is the one making sure all this really works. So I'll say thank you to those people as well as the Common Arms guys.
All right. Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for being on. And this session was recorded, so we'll share that to anybody who wants it. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Great. Thanks so much, Kathy. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.